Hello and welcome. My name is Evgeny Rusakov and you're watching TVP World interview from Vilnius. Nowadays, people have to be very cautious when choosing information sources. For that, we have to strengthen our resilience towards disinformation that sometimes awaits us just around the corner. To discuss the ways of fighting disinformation with help of strategic communication, we are joined today by the Director of Media Support Fund, Ruslanas Iržikevičius. Hello, Ruslanas, and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, nice to be back.
So, yes, first of all, those two definitions, strategic communication and disinformation. Well, we pretty much know what disinformation is. What is that strategic communication, and why are they standing one against each other?
There's a lot of talking about strategic communication, disinformation. So I'm not going to go into very deep and very wide. But from what I see from my point of view and from my own experience, is that you have to, because information is so important in the world. It was the importance of information is growing every day.
Exactly. Yes.
We don't really realize how important it's going to become in the future, because it's going to be not ruling the world, but is going to be really making us very dependent on it, and it's already had made us dependent on it. And the states, they managed to survive, and they managed to fight for their survival with communication, strategic communications, and communication various tools, and states attacking other states with information tools and misinformation, whatever we're going to call it. So it's very, very important. It's vital for the survival of any state. So if you want to survive, if you want to plan ahead, if you want to be resilient, active, and be strong, you have to plan. You have to plan how you communicate with your population, which is, I think, the West is losing this battle.
Oh, really?
Us communicating for providing information and communicating with our citizens.
Why do you think West is losing this battle? What are the reasons?
Because we lost the grips. We lost the grips of which actually was due to this peace dividend, which lasted since 1990s, and we completely lost the guard which we had during the Cold War. This guard was based on strategic communication. So in the Cold War, it was quite important piece that really made us, aware what is happening not only outside of the Soviet Union, but what was happening inside of the Soviet Union, because the information in the Soviet Union itself was very restricted, and it was a lot of lies inside. So, during the Cold War, we actually experienced in a positive way the strategic communication channels and tools from the West. And I can tell you that, I can tell you from my own experience that most of what I heard in the Western, this voices of, they call voices of propaganda, whatever, Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, or Liberty, turned out to be true. And what is actually happening now in the Western societies? In the Western societies, we're losing the grip. We just digging deeper and deeper, trying to find some truths. And all of a sudden you start thinking that you live in a horrible, horrible place. That West is a horrible place, that we have to change it, we have to demolish it, and then
to the ground.
And since this polarization is happening big time now, and that polarization is also fueled with the money, with the methods that are much easier now to use from the East. And it's now, of course, we have Russia, which is extremely well-equipped and extremely, they pour a lot of money in it, but they're also very good at it. Very good at it, using all tools available for them. And now we have China also, don't forget.
And we, the West, we lost the grip.
And we lost the grip. And this is what is happening now in the West. We should start doing strategic communication and strategic campaigns, the undercover campaigns, as it used to be in the Cold War.
And this is where I would like to discuss, to jump to another interesting topic, disinformation. Because the states that you've mentioned use loads of disinformation against the states that they consider their enemies. So why, in your opinion, do people believe in disinformation?
It's not because people are bad. It's not because people are less educated or more educated. It goes very well to the less educated population and also more educated population, also actually becoming infected by this misinformation and propaganda. It's about information flow. We have so much of information flowing to you all the time. Very clever people saying that it's about 90%. 90% of all information that you actually consume, it's not needed for you. You don't have to have that information. It's like it's really, you're wasting your time with that information. With that enormous flow of information, you're losing the grip, you're losing the common sense and the reality almost. Reality of what it is actually important for you, what is important for your country, what is, and in that information which is flowing on you, from various sides and there's information which you like to hear.
That's pretty much how disinformation works. That's how you get hooked up.
Playing with your feelings, and I always say to my son, if you hear the piece of news or piece of information which is too good to be true or too bad to be bad, you should really be careful about information, about this kind of information.
That's a good advice.
And the information which is boring, it's based on the facts. This information most of the time is boring. It's not interesting. So people are just trying to immerse themselves in that flood of information which is interesting for them, which is interesting, entertaining. And through this 90% of that information, a lot of it is actually not true, or even in that part of 90%, a lot of it is actually, it's a malign information.
This is how disinformation gets under your skin.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to say.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, then there's the question, how can we fight this disinformation? How can we strengthen our resilience against everything that you've mentioned right now?
So we have to look at what it causes. Yeah. What the main causes, Actually, I don't want to advertise, but now I'm actually in the middle of reading of Nexus, Yuval Harari's book. I only have 1/3 through. But the causes of this is that once is, of course, the technical revolution, communication revolution, that all information can access everybody else, that this information that is coming out is not checked, is, as we agreed, not really reliable. So I think that it's very, very important to start realizing that if you want to not spend your time in vain and poison your mind, whatever, you have to start looking for the sources that are reliable.
Okay, how do you know that this or that source is reliable? I mean, some read those propaganda stuff and they say that this is a reliable source, and some say, no, this is not. Where is the truth?
The reliable sources are coming from editorials, from editorial rooms, from newspapers, whatever, websites, televisions. Most of the time, I'm talking about most of the time, is when you have different opinions. It's a simple. At every fact, you should have few opinions. You should not take one side. If you're talking about news, it's not one side. You cannot take one side. If if you're talking about opinion pieces, of course you can express opinion. So we have to go back to the normal journalism, the serious thinking about how to start looking and reviving the journalism. This is what we're going to be doing in Lithuania in the fund, what I'm also a director of. We're going to be starting the campaigns in Lithuania for public to introduce them to what the journalists do, the real journalists that are actually being educated, that are working, checking the facts in the media. We have to also start realizing that there is no free lunch. We have to start, because now it's media, surviving, barely surviving, and then it's because the business models are collapsing, and the newspapers and the information outlets are closing in hundreds and hundreds. Journalists are losing their work, and this network of media world is actually collapsing in the West also. This is terrible. So we have to start thinking that media is not for free, and at the time as it is now, the media model that used to work in the liberal society 30 years ago, at the moment is not working, or it's not working yet. Okay. It's still finding its blue silver bullet, or its business models. It's still finding it. Meanwhile, has not found it. Okay, of course we talk about, if you talk about The Economist, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, big companies, of course, exactly. It's easier for them. I'm talking about the local journalism. That is the most important. The local journalism, if local journalism dies, step by step, then we're getting the news deserts. And when you don't have journalism in area or in a covered area, liberal democracy is not functioning properly there. So we have to think about the models, how to help, especially the local journalism, to survive. And so there's no free lunch. You have to pay for news. We also going to be start this campaign and understanding that you have to pay for news, and not only privately, but look for,
And do you think that by understanding that journalism, a proper journalism has to be, you have to pay for that, and that will somehow strengthen our resilience towards disinformation? Do you see this like an effective way to fight disinformation?
Yes, because we have to go back to, to a little bit go back to the basics and realize that what is happening now with big IT, high-tech companies, we have to start, looking at them with, I wouldn't say cautiousness, but we're starting to tell who they are, the disseminators of information. And information could be truthful, could be not truthful, could be harmful, could be good, could be bad. So it's a free market of information. Nice. And information can kill. Information can maim you. It's like it could be dangerous. We ban something what is bad in society. We control it because it's becoming dangerous to society to some extent. So some parts of our liberal democracy in the media world at the moment, as I say, media has not found its way to survive. A lot of medias didn't find a way to survive. So, and we have to help them to survive and go back a little bit with editorial. But you have to find out, have to look, if this media company has an editorial board, editorial policy. It has editors who are checking the information for you.
Well, Ruslana, I guess no free lunch today. Thank you for joining us today, and I really hope to see you once again.
Thank you for having me.
And I would like to remind our viewers that our guest for today was the Director of Media Support Fund, Ruslanas Iržikevičius. You're watching TVP World. Stay with us.